This video is specifically about the first TMA. There are some important general points that need to be made. Also, I'll discuss the TMA itself. The first point is that I've sent to you a copy of the people who wrote the questions, points about the essay and what it should cover. Do have a look at that, but please don't share it with anyone else. Obviously it could be used by other people, particularly if they've got a longer extension. So again, it's sent out on the basis that it's not going to be shared with anybody. Secondly, I would highlight the comment I've made in a number of eTMAs. There's no need to tell me what you're going to say. The point I've made before is that that throughout this course the word limit is very challenging, and therefore space given up in explaining to me what you're going to say comes at the expense of the depth and breadth of what you can say. So don't just say it for the sake of saying it. I can't credit you with any marks for what you've written there, and it's reduced the number of words available to attract the extra marks. Third point is, I stressed in the tutorials and the tutorial key point videos for those first two tutorials that in eTMA01 some description was necessary, but the marks, the bulk of the marks, are going to be focused on the evaluate part of the question. And so while description obviously is important, it's that critical evaluation that's going to get you the highest marks. Which takes me on to the fourth point about some misunderstandings that can arise about marking. When I mark this, I don't start off with 100 marks or 50 marks if the question is 50% of the score, and then take off marks for various points. You know, some students say, well, you've made a remark about this. Are you punishing me for a particular point? No, I'm not, because it doesn't work like that. It's not that there's a set number of marks and you get those taken away. It's the marking bands which are important. Does the material in your answer provide the evidence for a specific marking band? And you'll see by looking at the marking bands in your TMA guide that they deal with things like completeness and accuracy and level of analysis. Nobody is going to get a pass mark if they haven't satisfied me that it's of a level worthy of a degree level answer. So if you get a mark of 41, that's not to say this is awful. It says this is good enough to be a degree level, but is limited in some way. So 40 is what you'll get if you give pure description. And as I said, this question needs the description, but to get to the higher marks, you need to move on. You need to look at the analysis. Higher bands show varying levels of analytic ability, of incisiveness, of original insights, of support for arguments. Do look at those marking bands, because they're the ones that I and the people who will be marking your exam at the end of the course have to justify their marks. They're not an average. It's not that I'll say, all right, it's in this band and it's for one set of criteria, it's this band for another, and then average the mark. I've got to look at all of those and take a view. And as I've stressed, at degree level, we're expecting critical evaluation. We're asking you to think about it, to justify your points, and description itself will pass, but no more. On the question itself, there are differing aspects to importance. When we say that one source is important, so look at the volume of law that's produced, the importance of the subject matter. Which source prevails if there's a conflict between two or more sources? Which sources can abolish rules from other sources, or even the sources themselves? And finally, while it wasn't appropriate to go into the detail of the legislative process for this answer, and again it would have taken up the whole of the word limit to do so, I would suggest, as lawyers who are going to be using case law and statute law as the fundamental raw materials, do have a look at the interactive site on the Parliament website about how Parliament works and laws, particularly the passage of a bill. Do look at legislation, do look at case law. So those are some comments on eTMA. My practice is that I try to get to the venue at least 30 minutes before the class starts. So if you want to see me, to talk to me on a one-to-one basis, do come beforehand. And, you know, the best thing to do is actually drop me an email and say that you want to see me, and I'll set a specific time within that half hour, or it's usually more than half an hour, so that we can talk about it. Okay, thank you.